Do you want to learn how to make an office like this? In this video, I'm going to show you how I turn an average room to the ultimate setup. This is what the room used to look like. I changed the space up a few times, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. Especially with an ultra-wide setup, it's kind of hard to find the perfect desk that fits your needs. So I had to go out and make my own desk. In this video, there's three main parts. First is the tools necessary, second is the assembly, and third is the final reveal. I hope you enjoy. Let's start off by talking about the parts needed. When building your own desk, the first thing you want to figure out is what kind of material you plan on using. What I used was this 4x8 melamine white panel. It was about $40 a piece, and I only used 2 pieces total for my setup. There's a few options to choose from, such as using a butcher block or a thick piece of pre-sanded pine plywood. I'd say no thinner than 3/4 of an inch. Next step is to get yourself some brackets. Definitely want to get some heavy duty brackets. These ones hold up to 1,200 pounds per pair. I use a total of 7 of them in my setup, but that could be different for you. I usually roughly like to keep them about 2 feet apart from each other. Each bracket was about $13. I'll leave the link in the description for all the parts as well. The next part that I used is this mending plate, which is used on the bottom of the table where the two tops meet. This helps level out the gap and also add stability. I use these perforated metal hanger straps for wire management on the bottom of the table. In order to mount the bracket, you're going to need some lag screws. I went with a 3/8 by 3.5 inch. And I just got a box of them. Comes in a 25 pack for 17 and some change. And then also go ahead and get the washers, 25 pack as well. I used 1/2 inch sheet metal screws to attach the table to the bracket. And last but not least, you're going to want to get some edge banding adhesive. What this is it's a roll for the side edges of your table if you're using the same wood as I did for your top finish. This is very important to get a very clean edge, because as you can see, the table doesn't come with a finished edge. So now that you got all your parts, you'll need some tools. You're going to need a drill along with a drill bit. This is going to be for your pilot hole when you're screwing in your lag screws. I'd recommend using a pilot hole so everything is aligned properly. Next thing you're going to need is a 1/2 inch nut driver to drill your lag screws into the wall. And then I used a jigsaw to cut the wood. You could use a circular saw as well. I think a tabletop saw is the best option, but unfortunately I didn't have one. Most important, you're going to need a level. I highly recommend using a laser level just to get everything straight, especially if you're going to go on like a corner or make a L-shaped or a U. And I used painter's tape only in the beginning just to get an idea of how big I really wanted my table. Next, let's talk about the assembly. First, you're going to want to mark the center of the studs using a stud finder. It's important to bolt the lag screws into a stud for maximum support. I like using this one from Ryobi, but anyone will do the trick. Using a laser, I measured 1.5 inches lower than the desired table height. The laser will be used as a reference line to screw in the lag bolt to the top hole of the bracket. Repeat this step for all of your brackets. In this situation, I have a window where I needed a bracket to be, so I had to cut down some of the trim to try to get as level with the wall as possible. This bracket is only used for extra support, so I wasn't too worried about it being perfect. After you've measured your desired length for your tables, it's time to cut the wood using a jigsaw. Once that's complete, go ahead and place the middle piece in first, the second, and the third. I wanted extra space for wires to get through from under the table, so I left about a 1/2 inch gap from the wall. After the table is set in place, it's time to screw in the table to the brackets using the 1/2 inch screws mentioned earlier. Now you can use the mending plates to correct any unleveled edges. I used this Gorilla Glue adhesive to fill in the gap between the table's meeting points for a better look and also extra support. I want to go over an example of how to properly install edge banding tape using an iron. I've done this numerous times without damaging my iron. I just use an alcohol pad to clean off any leftover residue. Here you can see I'm removing the edge banding tape because I didn't use enough heat or pressure the first time. So if you don't get enough heat, there won't be a proper bond, causing the tape to just look flimsy and easily peelable. After the old edge banding tape is removed and the table edge is clean of any dust, I'm going to cut a piece from the roll a little bit longer than the desired length, which will be trimmed off at the end. Line up the tape with the top of the table edge and grab your iron. Let it sit for about 5 seconds on full heat. You should hear a sizzle coming from the glue melting. It's completely normal. Once the heat is introduced, the tape easily will adhere to the edge of the table and bond quickly. Go ahead and slide the iron across the edge of the table while you're guiding the tape to stay aligned. The tape will be very hot, so take caution in this step. As you're going forward with the iron, you'll also want to go back and keep the tape hot for the final press. As you can see here, I'm going back and forth with the iron with a little bit of pressure to ensure all the parts of the tape are hot. So what I'm doing here is using a metal level to do my final press to really make sure that the tape is stuck on there. A block of wood would also work well instead of using a level. I used a box cutter blade at a 45-degree angle to trim any excess tape and to create a nice, smooth, even finish. It's a good idea to cut the excess trim in one stroke, starting from either the left or right side. And remember, cut on a 45-degree angle to make the cut glide all the way down easily. Now for the last step in the edge banding process, I'm going to go ahead and cut the extra tape off the edge. You're going to want to grab your iron one last time to go over the corner a few more times to blend everything together. If you choose to use a butcher block or a stained wood table, you could skip this part as you probably already have a finished edge. And if you have any chips, a little dab of white paint will cover them. I use this foam edging for more comfort on the edges of the table. This may be something you think you don't need, but trust me, it's so much more comfortable. It's really easy to install. It comes with a double-sided tape specifically made for this type of rubber material. I've had no issues with the foam coming loose or even slightly falling off. As you can see, I only used the foam on the edge of the middle table for aesthetic reasons. And just in case anyone's wondering how stable the table actually is, well, you tell me. I haven't tried jumping on it yet though. Maybe in the next episode. Drum roll, please. Let's get started in the middle with the two 34-inch 144Hz ultra-wide MSI gaming monitors. Wired keyboard and mouse with the custom mute button for Zoom calls with the wireless charger next to it. For speakers, I chose the Logitech Z623. There's my gaming rig, along with my work and personal laptops. And of course, you gotta have the headphone stand to make it official. Underneath, I built a shelf for my router and all that good stuff. On the other side here, I got the HyperX Quadcast mic. I'm really loving it. On the wall, I added a TV in the mix to spice up the vibe, along with some LEDs I splashed everywhere. And then, of course, a wall of motivation. We all need motivation. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions or if you want to see more of this type of content, feel free to let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.